This happened to me recently when I was traveling to my family for a small reunion. I made the trip alone because I usually like driving long distance by myself. I usually listen to music or stop at a rest area when I became tired. I left in the morning. After about a day driving, I was looking for a cheap motel just to sleep for a few hours. Obviously, you shouldn't drive when you are tired. I went in a small motel, the two-floor motel in which every room faces the parking lot. I went into the front office, paid for my room and checked. Surprisingly, the room wasn't bad enough according to the budget. Everything was properly organized. I thought these motels have a bad reputation for being scary for no reason. The room was cozy with a dim lighting that makes you comfortable. I got to sleep fine, but at 2 in the morning, I woke up. A weird feeling washed over me that makes me uncomfortable. There was a tea machine in the room, so I made myself a warm tea to be relaxed. I drank the tea and went back to sleep. It was nearly a minute after I closed my eyes. The phone that you used to call the front desk went off. At first, I thought not picking up is the best option, but I was a little bit terrified that what's the reason to call me at this time. I picked the call. No answer. I just heard the sound of static like a TV losing its signal. I thought I should go to the front room and check. When I went there, there wasn't anyone. There was just a classical music was playing from a radio and same static sound. There wasn't a receptionist, no workers. I thought the receptionist would be asleep and so as the workers. When I turned around to walk back, I found a man standing, maybe in his 50s, definitely more than 6 feet tall. He asked me what happened. I tell him about the phone. He said it was a regular occurrence and that it only happens to people that deserve it. Deserve what? I didn't ask. I didn't want to drag the conversation on for any longer than how long it currently was. I walked back to my room. During rest of the night, the phone kept going off. It didn't stop at all. I got up and went outside when I noticed the same man outside my window. "What are you doing?" I asked him. He told me he just wanted some air. I went and got a drink from a nearby vending machine and found the man wasn't there anymore. But my room door was wide open. I was enough to not take care about it, so I just locked the door and went to sleep. I woke up again after sleeping for maybe an hour to the sound of my door knocking. My door oddly wasn't locked, but I immediately ran at the door, hoping if someone was out there, I would knock them over and that I would have time to get to the front desk. I got to the front door and this time the receptionist was there. I told her everything and she said I found it crazy. I told her about the call and he told me that it never happens and that whoever told me that does not work. I went back into the room, but we found there nothing. In fact, there was no sign of him at all. I didn't see the man again, but I know it happened. I will not stay in one again. This happened about 2 years ago. I was driving from Ohio to Georgia for a family thing, and I wasn't trying to make it in a one shot. I have done long drives before, and I know myself if I push too hard, I started drifting on the highway. So somewhere around 11 at night, I got off at an exit with a gas station, a dinner that was already closed, and one motel. Nothing special, single story, maybe 14 rooms, the kind of place with a paper stripe across the toilet seat and a lamp bolted to the nightstand so nobody steals it. I reached the front desk. The guy barely looked up from his phone, gave me a key and told me checkout was 11. That was it. I remembered there were only 3 cars in the parking and one mine. The parking lot was almost empty. Usually I never thought about these roadside motel because I just booked them for sleep. I went into the room, tired enough to notice anything, and went to take a shower. I was making myself ready for the bed as soon as possible. I texted my sister that I would made it to the halfway point and I was asleep probably by midnight. I sleep heavy. I don't know what time it was when I woke up. There is no clean way to explain what woke me because it wasn't a sound, at least not one I could point to. The room felt different, colder this time, or maybe occupied. I opened my eyes and there was someone standing at the foot of the bed, not near the main door or the window, just on the foot of the bed, close enough that if I would stretch my legs out, I could have touched him. It was dark, only a stripe was coming under the curtain from the parking lot lamp outside, so I didn't get a full look at him. I want to be honest about that, instead of making it sound more dramatic than it was. I saw a shape, tall, broad through the shoulders, wearing something dark. The light coming from the outside caught the side of his face, not enough to him to a sketch artist, just enough to know it was a man, an adult, and that his eyes was already on me. He wasn't there to steal anything or found anyone, but maybe myself. He was just staring me while I was sleeping. By the time I had both eyes fully open and my hand flapping for the lamp switch, I heard a slam shut of the window and he was gone. I got the lamp on, maybe 2 to 3 seconds after the slam. I checked my phone 3:47 in the morning, completely certain of what I would seen and completely unable to explain it. I didn't sleep again that night. I sat on the end of the bed with the lamp on and my keys in my hand until it got light outside, and then I checked out early and didn't say anything to the guy at the front desk, because what I was going to say, a man was standing over my bed and then wasn't, and the door still locked. I never went back to that motel again, and I can't forget that night of my life. I don't have an ending for this one. I've thought about it for months and I still don't. I'm telling it anyway. 8 months ago, solo trip, nothing exciting. I found a small motel a couple of hours outside the city. Older building, single hallway, rooms on the both sides. Checked in that afternoon, was in bed by 11. My room was 7. I felt asleep fast. I don't know what time it was when I woke up, but it was still dark. And what woke me was banging, not knocking, heavy, full hand, no rhythm to it, like someone slamming their weight into a door over and over. Loud enough that I was sitting up before I was fully awake. It was coming from down the hall, a couple doors away. Not mine. I sat there in dark, listening. I went on for close to a minute, then it stopped, all at once. I told myself it was probably someone locked out, annoyed at their own door. I'd almost talked myself back into lying down when it started again. Same as before, hard and fast, and this time it went longer. I got up, I don't fully know why, except that some part of me needed to see it instead of just hear it. I walked to my door and looked through the peephole. The hallway light was on. A few doors down, in front of room 9, a man was standing there. He wasn't banging, that's the part I can't get past. Whatever had been happening stopped in the second or two it took me to reach the door, and no, he was just standing there, facing it, completely still. Not a shift of weight, not a turn of the head. Somehow that was worse than the sound had been. The banging at least felt like a person doing something. The stillness didn't feel like anything I recognized. I don't remember stepping back from the peephole. I just remember being further from the door than I'd been a second before. When I made myself look again a minute later, the hallway was empty. The room's 9 door was closed, same as every other door. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. Every so often I'd heard something down the hall, a shift, a creak, something I could place, and my whole body would lock up, waiting for it to start again. It didn't. In the morning, I asked the front desk casually if there had been some kind of disturbance overnight. The woman checked the screen and told me room 9 wasn't occupied. Hadn't been all week. Closed for a maintenance, she said. When I asked what kind, she didn't really have an answer. Just that it wasn't being rented out. I checked out that afternoon and never went back. If the room was empty, I don't know what I heard banging against that door, or who was standing in front of it when I looked, and if it wasn't empty, I don't know why someone would bang on the inside of their own door at 2 a.m. or stop the second someone looked. I don't have a theory that fits all of it. I just know what I saw through that peephole. A man standing completely still in front of a door to a room no one was supposed to be in. And I think about that stillness more than the banging, because banging at least found someone trying to get somewhere. I don't know what that was. I just know I saw it.